In today's video, I wanted to talk about a very hot topic, and that is alien invasion, UFOs. I guess that's kind of that whole general topic. And why do you think that this narrative has been pushed for so hard for probably the last since like early 2000s or something like that? I think that Ancient Aliens show has been on now for like 20 years or some craziness like that. Now, I do actually have a personal experience with this. Really, experience is like one of my least favorite words, but I don't know how else to describe it. So back in the year 2000, in July of 2000, my buddy and I were at Lake Erie. I'm originally from Cleveland area, and we were at Lake Erie. It was late at night. It was after midnight. It was probably between like 2 to 4 a.m., somewhere in that range. And we were just, I don't know, there was just something magical about this time of day. Now, technically, you're not supposed to be at the lake this time of day. They shut the park down, but there was a fishing entrance that we went into, and we got to the lake. And we're just watching, and there was this party boat out in the lake, and it had orange and red and white rotating lights around the sides. I'm like, man, this is crazy. I mean, it's this early, or, like the morning, and they're still out there going full at it. Next thing I know, this thing moves closer and closer, and I'm like, man, that's a fast boat, man. And he's like, yeah, I've never seen a boat that fast. And then it's over us, above us, like this light right here, beaming down a light. And I'm like, we tried to get away from it. I remember we ran right into each other. And next thing I know, we pretty much wake up in my car the next day at 8 o'clock in the morning. I do remember running towards my car, and there was this wire mesh type fence, not really fence, but like guard so cars didn't drive onto the beach. And my buddy tripped on that, and he had like a really good like laceration almost on his shin bone, right on the shin. So we knew that it happened. We know that it happened. And my life got stranger than, I've always had kind of a strange life, but my life after that got so strange. So strange. I started having weird health issues that I still deal with to this day. He had more mental stuff than I did, so I'm mentally fine and everything, and I could work in society. I don't know what they did to us. He's had more dreams and stuff about it than I have. All I know is I started having a shitload of weird health issues afterwards. It's just a plethora of them. Not least of which was my testosterone and all that just tanked. So I don't know what they did. Hypnosis in my mind is satanic, so I won't get hypnotized. Something happened that night. And so I wanted to talk about this idea that aliens are going to come in during the rapture and they're going to abduct a bunch of people. I think that this narrative is being pushed just so they have an excuse as to why so many people are raptured out of here. Like Jesus said, there will be 2 men in the field, one will be taken, one will not. 2 women are in the kitchen, one will be taken, one will not. This, I mean, how else are they going to explain this? I mean, half the population possibly could just go missing. Or, there's 2 billion or so Christians, if we're to believe the population, of this planet. 2 billion or so, maybe even more Christians on this planet. A large portion of that could just disappear one day, just gone without a trace, like the show. And, because think about why else would the government allow shows like this to exist? Now, there's been some shows that have gotten maybe a little too close to the truth and they get canceled, but the others, they kind of just skirt the whole thing, and they kind of just talk about the same things all the time, and they kind of get certain closeness to the subject, but they're far enough away that it's basically a soap opera, really. You know what they're going to talk about the next episode. There's nothing new on these channels. It's the same actors on all of these channels. And those who try to bring up God are kicked off of these shows. And do I keep saying channels? I keep thinking of YouTube, but you know what I mean, hopefully. Why else would, they allow this to happen? It's because they're pushing this narrative. They need something. And then all of a sudden they're releasing this video from the Navy footage of that Tic Tac thing. They're allowing people to really talk about this more, where, back in the day, even in the early days of YouTube, they would censor this stuff. And they're doing a little bit now, but they've been pushing this so hard, and they need this narrative. So don't believe in this alien. Now, aliens very likely could be demons. Very likely. Why else would they be harvesting sexual-oriented stuff? Why else would they be doing it? Who knows? And then, the New Agers are talking about the idea that this is just, us in the future coming back to give ourselves a warning about what actually happens. And then you've got this video that was circulating recently about this Elon Musk that got caught in a loop of going back and forth in between time, because time doesn't really exist, and it looks like a whole lot like Elon Musk. There's just so many things going on, and with AI, they can make anything look like reality. Look, they've had such good hologram stuff. Look at what happened in New York City with planes and stuff like that. Look how real that was. So, I don't know, just really use discernment with this whole topic. Now, I know what happened to me. I've had this happen a few times, and none of which was pleasant, all of which was really jarring to the body. But they say that those who don't believe in God or Jesus or the Holy Spirit or or the Holy Trinity, they don't ever get bothered because they're with the evil one. But those of us who don't really believe in the evil one, I've never so much as done an Ouija board. But I've been attacked my whole life. It's been crazy. I'm always like, man, why am I attacked so hard? It's crazy. When I talk about this subject back in the day, back in 2020, and, the other thing that was going on in 2020, I actually had a drone over my house. I decided one night, I'm like, man, I've been in this house a long time, and I had my ankle replaced, and I was kind of walking at this time, and I'm like, well, I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to stretch this thing out, and I walk outside my house, and I walk just across the street, which I didn't usually do, and I look over my house, and there's this drone with red lights, like beaming over my house. I'm like, what is this? What is this? And then all of my posts were getting deleted and stuff like that. So there is definitely a demonic force behind this whole thing. So watch yourself, and use discernment. And unfortunately, if you're here to witness this alien invasion, chances are you were not part of Rapture, and don't take the mark of the beast, whatever that ends up being. If it's an implant, if it's a barcode that they tattoo to your wrist or whatever, don't do it. You're probably not going to make it much longer than that, but at least you didn't do it. That's all you can say. At least you didn't do it, because if you are a part of this, as soon as you take the mark of the beast, you're done. From what I read in the Bible, that's it. From what I've understood, I don't want to misguide anybody, but it seems from what I've read in the Bible, as soon as the mark of the beast happens, forget about it. That's it. You made your choice. There's no going back from that. So I know that this stuff is real because I've been through it, and I've got friends that have been through it. And when I was growing up, a lot of my neighbors were World War II vets, and they used to tell me anyway, about these tempter demons and during World War II that would be in the fields. And they used to tell us about the Foo Fighters that used to be in the fields. And one time when he was talking about the Foo Fighters, this was back in the 1980s. This was probably like 1980, 8th. He was talking to us about these Foo Fighters, you know, like the jet fighters or the you know, the pilots were seeing these balls of white and stuff like that, you know, observing them. And as he's telling us this, it was the same friend that I went up to, you know, up into whatever that was with. He was telling he and I this. The same time he told us this, there was this triangle thing that appeared way up in the sky, and it's like it was observing us. So the technology that this government of ours has here in America is so far advanced. It's probably 50, 60, 100 years in advance. We don't know what they've got. Some of the stuff, I mean, these UFOs that they were seeing over here in New York and New Jersey, ironically, as I moved into this apartment, they're seeing these drones. They can pretty much pull off anything and make anything look real at this point. Don't think that they can't. I mean, look at what happened back in 2001. So again, and they're trying so hard to have us focusing on this so much, but it's very demonic. And I didn't really think this back in the day, but now I do. Now that I really have been through it, and now seeing what especially it did to my friend. Me, I was a little more headstrong mentally, maybe I don't know, maybe just not there enough. I don't know. Not emotionally available enough. Maybe it didn't affect me like, I know it didn't affect me like it did him. It really did set him up. But for me, I was just like what in the heck? I mean, because I had so many weird things happen to me up to this point. I'm like, what do I have, like this target on my back? I mean, what is going on? I'm just making this video to let you know that this stuff is real. It's out there. It's demonic. And during Rapture, they're going to use this to the full extent. And when they do, make sure that you know that this is Rapture. Like, this is Rapture. If a bunch of people go missing and you're still here, this could be me too. I have no idea. We don't know we don't know who's going up and who's not. Don't take the mark of the beast, whatever it ends up being. You know, I initially thought it was the Jabiru, and that could have been the beginning of it. Who knows? But apparently, there's something else that it's going to be. And keep in mind that a barcode has the beginning is a 6, the middle is a 6, and the ending is a 6. So the 6 turns on the machine, then it reads like I think the manufacturer, and then there's a space which is a 6, and then it reads like the aisle number or something like that, and there's a 6 to close off the barcode. So any barcode has a 666 on the outside of it, and 666 was the mark of the beast. I've made a video about this somewhere. I can't even remember where it was at this point, because again, like here's another thing that they keep just making my channels just go away too. Like whenever I've made channels about this sort of stuff, I'll go there and I'll just get a 404. There's nothing left. There's just no channel left.
All right, so let's talk end times. Let's talk Revelation 16, which is the second beast. It also forced all people, which is right here, all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hands. If they did not have that mark, they could not buy or sell anything. This calls for wisdom. Let the person who has insight calculate the number of the beast, for it's the number of a man. The number is 666. Now let's go to an everyday thing that you see every day, which is barcode. But there's a left guard, a right guard, and a center bar on every barcode, and every single one has the same numbers. Now, while the numbers in between these bars always change, the start, the middle, and the end never change, and it's always 666, which could be most likely the mark of the beast, because it says it can be represented by a number. So if anybody wants you to get a barcode stamped to you, don't do it.
Just keep this in mind. Anyway, I could keep repeating myself. There's a bunch of things that I would like to say, but I know I can't. And so I don't, as much as I can say, I think I've said here, just use discernment. Make sure that if you are not part of the people who go up into the sky, but if you're not one of that group, make sure that you don't take mark of the beast. Anyway, peace.